So welcome back to the 1%. Thank you so much for watching on YouTube or listening on Spotify and iTunes. Today we've got a really cool guest with us. Her name is Veronique Ellis, but you'll hear us talking to her as V in this episode. And she is a London-based Pilates and barre instructor, as well as a rhythmic gymnastics coach. So V, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. It's great to be here.
So Rory and I wanted to chat to you because there's such an overlap between what you're doing and the business that you've just started, which we're going to get into now. And I really wanted the topic of this episode to be like the connection between physical exercise and fitness, as well as like mental health and performance. And so I wanted to start off that question, and maybe I'll start with you, V, and then Rory, you can jump in after that. But you guys are the experts when it comes to, physical fitness and exercise. You have clients who pay you to coach them in this regard. So why is the connection between being physically strong and fit so powerful when it comes to mentally feeling good and performing as well?
I mean, I guess physical fitness can mean so many different things to different people. And when I started Evolve and I created the Evolve method, my thinking behind it was to rather encourage people to move daily. And whether that's something small that they're doing for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, of course, the health benefits of cardiovascular health being improved and building a stronger body is great. But the mental side of things, I think that's where the shift comes in, and it's really powerful because you can reduce your stress. Just checking in with yourself, it's just a great way to balance out your body, dedicate that time to yourself. And the mental health benefits that I've seen from my clients, particularly getting their feedback, is especially during this pandemic that we've all been going through, connecting with people, both live and, even an on-demand workout. It's just having someone to hold you accountable as well, and having someone to support you through it. So that support element as well, I think, is such a great benefit for people's mental health. Rory, I'm sure you'll have more to add on that. I'm not sure whether you guys are doing in-person stuff back where you are, or if you're still online.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with everything you said there, right? And that mental side of things, I think, is almost the biggest benefit. Because like you say, it's great to have the physical adaptations and to be physically strong and fit. But when it comes to the mental side of things, it's something I've done quite a lot of research on. And, when we look at emotions are not just mental. It's a physical and mental combination that gets us there, right? I mean, we all know the feeling, right? If you go for a run or you do a workout, you feel different. You feel a different emotion. It's really hard to stay sad or stay pissed off when you're moving, because physiology is such a strong factor when it comes to what emotion you're feeling. I always use the example with my clients. I mean, how brave do you feel normally versus when you've had 10 tequilas, right? There's a very big difference there. And the same principle applies on a more natural level, is that a change in physiology, a change in chemistry in the body is going to create a different emotion. And when you have a different emotion, and this is now going into kind of the business and performance side, you make better decisions, right? And again, I'm sure you'll know as well, and for yourself, being a business owner, the state that you're in every day, the amount of energy you have really makes an impact on how effective you are in your business, right? And that's especially true when we're in a business like we are, where it's very personal and it's very one-on-one intensive, right? So I know for me, that's why I love this work so much, right? Just coaching, personal training before, I love it because it forces me to be in such a high energy, because I need to give that energy to my client. So how does it make you feel like when you work one-on-one with a client? Like, what is that energy balance between you like?
I mean, I guess that's quite an interesting question, because it's definitely something that I recognize in myself and how I feel. When you're working one-on-one with a client, you obviously, at first, you have to build that relationship with them. So bringing that energy as well, and building that trust, I think is such an important part of running your business, retaining clients even. And of course, some days it's so natural for you. I mean, I'm sure you also feel that sometimes you're feeling like, am I really that motivated to do this workout today? I'm preaching all this stuff like work out every day, you know, get active for your mental and physical states. But at the end of the day, it's like, for me personally, I know that I have to show up for people, and I know how it's going to benefit them as well as myself. So yeah, finding that energy balance though is so important. Yeah, I'm sure you would agree with me on that.
No, 100%. And, you know, that's why it's such a beautiful line of work to be in, because, you know, again, I think, and I'm sure you've experienced this too, there's a lot of people that come to us, a lot of people who want to make a change, you know, get healthier and just get fitter. It's a sensitive spot for them, right? It's a tough place for them to move into, because it is such a challenge, you know, especially if you haven't been brought up in that culture. I know for me personally, you know, in the early stages of my life, I wasn't active at all. I was really overweight. I was really unhealthy. So finding people and, you know, trainers around me who could help me make that transition in a way that I felt comfortable and not overwhelmed, that was really powerful. So to be able to take someone and help them to make that shift while still feeling comfortable, it's, yeah, you know, I can see a smile on your face, which is, it's beautiful, right? Because I see that, I feel that. I love that feeling as well. So, you know, seeing a client's eyes light up when they can do something basic, right? Something that we may take for granted, right? I have a client now who couldn't walk up 2 flights of stairs, right, without getting out of breath. And, you know, we take that for granted every day. But for him to make that shift, it changed his life, as crazy as it sounds. So yeah, it's a beautiful line of work to be in. And yet, I'm sure being in business, you know, maybe in a different way, but you still have that kind of feeling with a client, right, where you help them create a result, and I'm sure that gives you a kind of positive feeling. Yeah.
No, 100%. And I think the thing there is like also just is about confidence, right? So when we talk about physical training, and like whether it is you like in a boxing gym or you know, running 5K, whatever it is, I think the coolest thing there is that it builds confidence in yourself. So like V was saying, if you really don't feel like doing it, like it's raining or it's cold outside, but you force yourself to do it anyway, and you actually finish that, it's like you've overcome your mind and you've overcome that voice in your head that doesn't want you to do something. And that confidence like carries out throughout your day. And obviously you were saying like in business, you know, that's key, like having that confidence. So I wanted to move on to the next question, which was like, what are some of the practical things that people can do when it comes to diet and exercise? You know, people like us, like day to day, what can they actually do if they don't have time to maybe, you know, train for like an Ironman or a huge cycling race or something? What are the small practical things they can do to boost their confidence and their mental performance through exercise?
Would you like me to answer that, Gid, first?
Yeah, you can start there.
Okay, so just in terms of that, like obviously, again, when you are preparing for, say, a competitive event, or if you are competing at a high level, I think your preparation is so different to how you would also encourage people to just incorporate movement or exercise into their daily life. It's literally the smallest thing. It can be 5 minutes, 10 minutes of stretching, or even just, you know, creating that space for yourself, that routine of getting on your mat, dedicating that time to yourself, scheduling it in. And then in terms of nutrition, I think just talking from a personal experience, as I used to compete professionally as a rhythmic gymnast and worked with a lot of nutritionists as well. And basically, what I've always believed in and what I carry over into my business now, I'm not a nutritionist myself, but just having that balanced lifestyle. So don't, you know, stop yourself from having a treat on the weekend or deprive yourself of something, because it literally just makes you want it more. And instead of just, you know, finding that balance and just getting that healthy balance, I think that's my wholesome approach to it, is don't do things in excess, you know, just small steps, small little changes, and you will see the difference. It does make such a huge difference to your performance. Just eating a healthy, like rich diet in terms of vegetables, fresh stuff, will naturally boost your mental state and your physical state as well. So I think, yeah, that wholesome approach of balance is definitely something that I live my life by. Even working with nutritionists, they always gave me a wholesome plan even if I was building up to competitions. I mean, obviously my life has changed quite a bit, so I don't do that anymore, but it's the most sustainable long-term plan, I think. Rory, how do you feel about that though?
Yeah. I mean, I'm just thinking in my head now. I mean, I can pinpoint everything you're saying there, and I can understand that in my own life, because and you said sustainable, right? And I think sustainability, that is the key beyond anything else. So I also, I come from a bodybuilding background where I competed myself, and also, very extreme, very intense, very, 100%. But what I've come to realize with myself and obviously all my clients is that instead of going for the all or nothing approach, I try to replace that with always something, right? So instead of saying, listen, here's where I am, right? And this is how I kind of see people doing it, and most people, trainers doing it, is I'm over here, right? And I barely walk a day in my life. I've got a sedentary lifestyle, and I'm eating mostly processed foods. Then you'll have a coach or trainer sometimes who will be over here and give you this perfect diet plan, completely different to anything you've done, this perfect workout regime. And the gap is too big. And it's that overwhelm and that all or nothing approach that I think kind of slows people down, right? So I'm sure you've experienced it yourself and with clients where you have a strict diet plan, all right, and I mess up one thing, well, then I'm off my diet, so I might as well do whatever I want, right? Exactly. So that wholesome approach, the sustainable approach, that's really, I think, the way we make progress. So what I like to share is something that I do with my clients that's really powerful, and it's so simple to ask, listen, in your eating on a scale of 1 to 10, where 10 is eating organic foods picked by Buddhist monks singing hymns in the Himalayan desert, and 0 is McDonald's with canola oil on top of it, where are you, right? They might say I'm a 5. So instead of saying, how do we get to 10? How do we get to 6? How do we get to 5.5, right? Like you said, it's those little steps that are sustainable, and that's what adds up. It takes longer, but it lasts longer. And I think that approach is really important. And it can relate, right? It can relate to business when you're getting overwhelmed. So I know you and I have had conversations before about trying to take on so many different ideas in business and trying to have this perfect, massive corporation almost, whereas we should kind of chunk it down and take it a little bit slower. So how do you feel that principle relates to business?
Yeah, I think I really like what you said, your analogy of going from 5 to 6 and then from 6 to 7. I think that's practical. And, you guys are the fitness experts on this podcast. So I would be like, the normal person who goes to gym for 3 months, trains really hard, and then falls off the bus for another 3 months. And so I've always been like very sporadic. And one of the things that has helped me a lot was just like joining a gym where you have classes and stuff. And that goes back to what B was saying in the beginning, which is about having like an accountability partner. And so obviously in business that relates, Rory, but I think in this case, that's the next point that I want to talk about is for those of us who don't necessarily have the discipline to structure our time and work out every single day, or at least, 4 or 5 times a week, these platforms that you have, so like Rory, your coaching platform, V, your new business called Evolve, like maybe we can start with V on this. Like, how do you help people by creating structured workouts and routines? So maybe you could just go into that a bit, and then we'll start talking more about Evolve and about your business journey.
Absolutely. I mean, when I created Evolve and the Evolve method, it was about creating something for everybody, for their own schedule. So 5-minute workouts to 45-minute workouts, whatever you have time for, I want you to jump on your mat and, dedicate that time for yourself, check in with yourself. Also, in terms of my platform, to give my community structure, every week I do a weekly plan for them to follow. So it's just to take that stress out of, choosing what workout to do. They presented with a library of 70 to 100 workout videos. Where do you start? So taking that stress away and just being like, here's some guidance for you. This is a plan that I would generally follow. And that's mainly the question that I get asked is, what do you do every week on a week-to-week basis? How do we do what you do? And that weekly planner was, I think, such a game changer for me and for my clients as well, because it gives you that structure. And then I also do live classes 3 times a week. So letting them check in, getting that personal connection as well. And I really do pride myself on the fact that I know all my clients in the community, not just their name, or just seeing them as a picture on my screen in a Zoom class, but actually knowing their story as well and knowing what's going to be best for them. So chatting after classes, holding them accountable to, show up for classes. I think just giving them that structure with the weekly planner, having your weekly lives that you're going to see me. My clients, if they don't show up for a class, I find it amazing that they send me a message to say, so sorry, we didn't show up for the class. And they don't have to do that. So it's creating that relationship and that accountability that I think also gives them the structure and keeps things fresh and unique and interesting for them. I challenge them on a weekly basis to progress. I would say in terms of Evolve and the community, that's definitely how I try to structure their workouts. And there's a lot of thought that obviously goes into that. It's not just, let me chuck in a random workout on Monday. It's like, what's going to balance their bodies out? What's going to help their mind? It's every Sunday, for instance, we do a meditation. So Sunday's not for working out on my platform. It's for checking in with yourself at the end of the week and, just like practicing gratitude as well for your body, for your mind, for what you do. So I think working out is great, creating that structure, but also teaching people to rest and recover. It's such an important part to see progress as well.
What about on your side, Rory? I know you and I have had like many discussions about structure and accountability. So what are the pain points for your clients, and how do you sort of tackle this problem of people not, following up with themselves? How do you deal with that?
Sure. Well, to be honest, I think V nailed it. I mean, you've absolutely nailed that, because it's all of those elements. It's not just one, right? So it's not just accountability. And I've been through this, right? I've had clients, I've set up systems that have not worked. I've had so many systems I've set up that have failed. And it's because I feel like there's a very specific recipe that you need. And I feel like V just gave us the full exposure there, which is, it's not just accountability, right? Accountability is really important, but it's the relationship, right? It's not just, oh, okay, my coach is going to message me and I'm going to feel guilty. Like, no, there's relationships there. Their story, their struggles, and you genuinely want to contribute back to them. And I believe that's 100% the reason why they message you to say they missed the class, right? Because you have that relationship with them. So accountability, community, and really building a proper relationship with them, right? Where it's not just a number on the screen. And, I've been guilty of that. I've been, trying to create these kind of cookie cutter approach workouts and nutrition plans and, all these marketing tactics and do your funnel and this and that to try get as many clients as you can. And it doesn't work, right? They come in a month, 2 months max, and they leave because there's no accountability, there's no relationship, and there's no community. And I think those elements that you brought together, I think that's what's made you so successful. So yeah, to be honest, I've got nothing to add there. I think that is it right there.
Do you mind if I add something else to that though? Sorry. I am just touching on what you said about, you've tried all these different marketing tactics and, looking at the number on the screen thinking, how many signups have I got? Or, and I think what has been so interesting for me as part of this journey, obviously I'm still learning, my business is still new, but it's actually been so rewarding to see that I'm retaining clients. So it's my perspective has completely shifted from when I first launched the business to think, okay, I want 100 signups in a month or whatever, to actually I've got say 30, 40 clients that show up for themselves day in and day out, and they're coming back, and the energy that you're putting out and what you're getting back from them is so much more rewarding long term, I think, creating that sustainable community as well, and just allowing myself to watch it grow organically. I don't know how you feel about that though, because obviously it's so, you really want to see those signups and you want to see that money coming into the accounts. It's natural to want to be successful, but when you really step back, it's like, is that sustainable?
Exactly. And you know what, that is, that's always a struggle, because and I think being in this industry, being a newer industry, if you look at it in terms of like the history, compared to things like law, medicine, or whatever. So it's a new industry, right? It's a new and upcoming industry. So we have that passion, but you got to pay the bills, right? Like, passion is great, energy is awesome, but you got to eat. So I think that that balance is challenging, and it's so almost corny, but it's so true, right? When you stop worrying about how many signups do I have, and how much money am I going to make, and what is my social media account on, and you just truly look at the people you have in front of you and ask yourself, like, how can I serve this person powerfully? That I think that's the key, because you serve that person powerfully, and like you said, you don't need to worry about bringing in 100 clients a month if you've got 40 clients that will stay with you for life, right? That's, maybe not for life, but for a long period of time, because they're getting that interaction, they're getting the value from you. And not only is that great for your bottom line, because also they're going to now refer out, and obviously we know word of mouth is 10 times better than any marketing tactic, but you're also going to create that relationship, and you're going to learn someone's story, and you're actually going to make a positive impact in that person's life. And that's really what it's about at the end of the day, right? So yeah, I think it's a tough one. So I feel you that challenge of balancing them is hard. But yeah, we persevered through it. So congrats on getting this far. I know I'm proud of myself.
As well. Well done as well. It's not easy.
I think just to your point there's like quite a well-known saying up in Silicon Valley where they say it's better to have 100 people who really love your product than to have 1,000 people who are like so about your product. So if you can build something really special that 100 people like freak out about, that they love so much, then ironically you actually have built something that will be able to scale, that more and more people will be able to love. But I want to just take a few steps back, because I think that's the one thing that the three of us have in common, even though we have different businesses and we're living in different places and stuff, is that we all went out on a limb to go and start our own businesses. We thought it would be much more fun than just to get a job and to fit in that way. And we've all sort of gone in our own direction. So Rory and I have chatted about our businesses and how we got there a little bit on the podcast. And I have no doubt we will still go into more detail in the next few episodes. But V, do you want to just tell us like a little bit about your journey, like going from being an instructor? I remember being friends back in the Durban days, and you started waking up at 5 a.m. all of a sudden and getting qualified and stuff. So just tell us about your journey into launching this business and building your own tech platform. Like, how did it happen, for the rest of us in our 20s?
I guess, it was I started teaching, and Gid, as you refer back to when I was still living in South Africa, waking up early, being an instructor, again, building those relationships with clients, getting my experience. And then I moved over to London and started instructing over here, working in studios all around London, and also coaching gymnastics. And then, when this pandemic happened, everyone had to kind of adapt. So studios that I was working for, they went online. And then unfortunately, some things didn't work out. So their business didn't work out. And I thought, I'm not going to stop teaching. And I've always had this dream of connecting my South African my clients and my London clients and whoever else I can possibly reach. So that's where Evolve started last November. So when we launched, but it was a journey. So it all kind of happened really quickly, though, to be honest. I had this idea and really just put the plans in motion. Got a developer on board, got a graphic designer on board, as those are definitely not my strong points. But I knew that I was bringing the expertise of the movement and the classes and the instruction to it. So putting all those puzzle pieces together and then creating basically like what I've always dreamed of doing, to be honest. So I'm able to connect people all over the world. I mean, from the comfort of my home, basically, not going into a studio, not relying on anybody else. I would be lying if I said it's been easy, but it's been so rewarding. I'm lucky enough that I managed to have my own platform built. So I don't host my workouts or any of my content on another platform, which I think is really great long term. And, yeah, I think I'm just going to keep going and see where it takes me, to be honest. It's all quite an organic process and all really exciting.
Were there times, I know you've like answered that question very like nonchalant, like it was all easy step by step, but for, to be our age and to hire developers and videographers and designers, it's a lot of risk. It's a lot of capital that you have to invest for yourself. So were there times where you would wake up at 3 a.m. in cold sweats and you'd be stressing about things? Like, how did you deal with the fear of like putting those plans into action?
Honestly, there were so many moments where I was like, am I doing the right thing? Because I've never run my own business before. So, I knew I had the one set of expertise, but then the other set, I was thinking the business side of things, I haven't qualified in anything on that. And, that's why I pulled in all these other people to try and help me. And I'm really lucky that my partner is in tech as well. So he had some really great help, or he gave me a lot of guidance on that side. But yeah, it's been stressful, but very rewarding in the sense that, you save up for this, and I was saving to try and get this all up and going. And I thought there were some points where I was just thinking, oh my gosh, is this ever going to happen? And then the launch date came, like it was 2 weeks away from the launch date. I'm thinking, okay, I've now said I'm going to have 40 videos on the platform. How am I going to do this? I haven't edited everything. So I took on all that responsibility for myself, as in terms of editing, trying to cut down costs. But it came together. So I'm grateful for that. It was a lot of work getting it all set up, but it's so worth it. And honestly, if you're someone that's wanting to take that leap, there's never the right time. It's 100% do it now, because if you've got that dream and you're able to make it work and you truly believe in yourself, and that you can impact people's lives, do it. Take the leap. It's so rewarding. It's stressful, but you learn as you go. I mean, I've started doing a business course even just to try and like up my skills on that side, so that I don't have to hand things over to someone completely. And I think my name speaks for it, that the company Evolve, it's like, personally, I'm evolving as well. It's forcing me to evolve in so many different aspects of life, not just my teaching, but, growing the business knowledge and everything. So yeah, it's been challenging, but really rewarding at the same time.
Yeah, no, I really like that. Just go for it. Like, you learn on the way. Like, even Rory and I, phone calls, like financial year end, we need to get our books together. Do you know an accountant? We need to sort out our tax. We need to do all these things. You just have to learn as you go. Like, that's just how it is. So before we end off here, I just wanted to ask one more question, maybe to get some of your feedback for Rory and I, just on marketing, like on building a brand that really stands out. So we'll link up the Evolve website and the socials below this video on YouTube, so people can check it out. But you've got a brand that really jumps out. And, when I'm going through Instagram, like subconsciously, I know I've seen an Evolve post before I even recognize it, because it's this bright green that jumps out of me. So do you have any advice for young people building brands, like on how to stand out?
To be honest, when I was creating the brand, like guidelines and everything, I did a lot of research into it to see, what everyone else was doing. And what I noticed, the trend was, neutrals. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It gives you that really relaxing feeling. And, that wasn't my personality, though. I think what the Evolve method entails is leaving you feeling energized. So the colors that came to me, that's where I got the bright colors from, like the neons. I thought it would stand out as well, which I'm so glad you say that you do recognize the brand online, Gid, which is amazing. But also, just as someone new, don't into this health and fitness industry, or just into new business ventures, I think showing up authentically is one of the most powerful things that you can do, and just being yourself. There is nobody else like you in such a competitive market as well. Health and fitness has seriously taken off over the last year, especially the online stuff. Just being yourself, and it makes you stand out. It makes you remarkable in your own way. And, when I say remarkable, it's like the most powerful thing, as you said earlier, Rory, was word of mouth. So getting somebody to refer you is, I think, much more powerful than doing advertising, paid advertising. Also, as a new brand, I personally have tried some of the paid advertising, and I don't think that people buy into it as much as someone referring you, because I don't have the 700,000 followers online or whatever, but that doesn't mean that I'm not good at what I do. And it just building that trust with your clients to get them to refer you has been much more powerful for me. So yeah, just showing up authentically, be vulnerable. Don't be afraid to, ask for help and show some, like, not weakness, actually, it's actually strength, showing that you don't necessarily always know what's going on. I don't know if you have anything to add to that, Rory, though.
No, that's you said it's authenticity. That's it. Because, especially in the line of work we're in, people, yes, they're coming for your expertise, but they're coming for you, right? They're coming for your energy. They're coming for the message you portray, right? And that authenticity and that vulnerability is what gives you that human element, right? And people want that. I think people are craving that connection, and it comes back down to creating relationships. We're in the business of serving other human beings, and I think it's so easy to forget that with all the business stuff and marketing, all these technical aspects that kind of get to your head. You forget that, and I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe it's the same for you. We got into this business because we want to help people, right? Other human beings. And that relationship, which is built on trust, authenticity, and vulnerability, that's the key. So I think you got a perfect marketing strategy there. Trust, authenticity, and relationships. I think you can get further than that than you can with 100,000 followers and paid Google ads.
Literally, I couldn't agree more with you.
And also, just to speak onto your marketing, like, you really are like trying to educate people and like offer value. So it's not just like getting people to sign up, but you're actually sharing workouts and like, this is what I'm doing today. This is what I'm doing. So I don't even have to be a paid member, but if I'm following Evolve on Instagram, I'm getting a ton of value. So I think that's also just speaks to like, really offering value and then playing the longer term game. So yeah, I think we're going to wrap it up there. So from my side, V, thanks so much for joining us and for sharing your story. I know it was pretty quick, but I'm excited for people to see this, and I hope they click through and check out what you're doing, because I have no doubt you're going to do very, very big things in the space. So I'll let Rory close it off, but thanks for joining us today. It was really awesome.
Thank you so much.
So yeah, Navi, thank you so much again. Just like what Gid said, it's so good to get that authenticity, and we feel that from you, right? And I can feel your passion. I can feel why you do this. And yeah, I think just there's a lot of people, like you said, in this industry, the kind of passion that you do. I think there's a very big place in the world for it. So yeah, just to close off, I know we're going to leave the handles at the bottom, but if someone wants to get in touch with you, where would be the first place for them to reach out?
I would say probably reaching out to me via email would be the best. I mean, I'm always open to people sending me DMs on direct messages on Instagram, whatever's easiest for you. But our email address is hello@joinevolve.co. So they can always send me an email or drop into my messages if they need any support or help or guidance. And then our handle is @joinevolve on Instagram.
All right, perfect. Okay, well, thank you so much, V, and yeah, thank you to everyone today. I really appreciate it, and yeah, we really hope to chat to you again soon, and I wish you all the best with your ventures going forward. We'll be looking.
Thank you so much for having me.